conservative new media viewers and Jeremy Lin fans around the world. What's going on? We're here to discuss Houston's 132-114 punk out loss to the Denver Nuggets in Game 77 of the 2012-2013 regular season. With the win, Denver is now 35-3 at home this year. That's the best record in the NBA, and Houston's 4-game winning streak is snapped. But there's some very good things that happened tonight, and you guys are definitely going to be happy to hear them. This was an expected loss. The game was over in the third quarter after Houston just got pounded in the second and third quarters. Denver's small forward and shooting guard positions just destroyed us. Andre Iguodala, Corey Brewer, Wilson Chandler, Evan Fournier. They just punked us. And a lot of that was on defense of our guys at those positions, James Harden and Francisco Garcia. It's hard to say too much bad about Francisco Garcia because he's basically the third small forward on the team behind Chandler, Parsons, and Carlos Delfino. Both those guys were hurt, and he had to play, and he played well. His defense wasn't that great, but what do you expect? I mean, he's the third-string guy. James Harden, his defense wasn't good, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit and more about James Harden in general. Tonight, you're going to understand, again, why I'm an expert and why it's important to listen to experts when you get analysis. Because there were things happening in this game that were very good and very bad, and most people aren't going to see them. And you have to understand the whole arc and trajectory of what's going on with Jeremy and the team and James Harden and Kevin McHale for this to make sense. But it's going to make sense to you guys. And that's why I said, most people, you read a paper or newspaper account of this, you're not going to get anything. You're going to get, oh, Houston got pounded. They're not that good. And no big deal. James Harden was okay. Jeremy put up good numbers, but meh. And that's all you're going to get. And that's why that's not enough. That's why I do these videos. Because there's a whole bunch more going on. And almost nobody else sees it, including people that cover the NBA. A dirty little secret is that most of the people that cover the NBA don't know the NBA. And I mean the writers and reporters of magazines, newspapers. Now, of course, some analysts know the NBA well, like J-Lin, guys that played. But they still miss things, or, they're working for a certain hometown network, and so they're focused on their guys. They're not focused on the other guys. Well, we're focused on Jeremy, which is the whole purpose of these videos. So I'm going to see stuff that applies to Jeremy that a lot of other people won't see because either they don't know what they're seeing or they're not looking for it. So there were some very good things tonight, and I know you guys will be interested in that. Jeremy had a great game. This was the fourth straight Linsanity game, and we're going to talk a whole bunch more about that in a second. I thought that only him and Francisco Garcia really showed up for the team in terms of the starters. Some of that's a little unfair because Omer Asik and Greg Smith are not built to play against this type of team. Denver, run and gun. Even though Houston runs and guns, Denver's better at it. And so it's like, Greg Smith can't guard Kenneth Faried. He's just too fast. And so I don't want to be too harsh on those two guys, but they didn't do very much in this game, but it is a tough matchup. Also, Jeremy has had trouble in back-to-back games this year. You've heard that from haters and from doubters, and well, he didn't have trouble tonight, and that's really good. Now, part of what was great in this game, and Skeletor mentioned this in the comments of Game 76 video, where people were posting while they're waiting for this video. James Harden got benched. And I'm going to have more on that in just a second. Look, again, I'm not trying to cause trouble. It's not about that. But it's about time James Harden got benched for how he was playing. And it happened tonight. I think it's the first time it happened this year. And that by itself makes this a great game. That's why I said you're not going to hear this from a lot of people. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to tell you what it is and what it means. Garcia, Demo, Thomas Jones, and James Anderson each had nice games for the Rockets tonight. Again, these are not guys you expect to put up big numbers. And they didn't, but they had good games. And that's good. You know, we need the entire team's young, but we really need the really, really young guys. I mean, Garcia's not that young, but he's new, to develop. And so these guys did a good job in a very hostile place to play. It's very difficult to play in Denver because of the altitude. It is 1 mile high above sea level, which makes the breathing more difficult if you're not used to it. And the crowd is nuts. You know, look, early on in this game, things look great. Houston was really on a roll. And then it's like Denver just starts rolling, and it's like, you know, you're facing a tidal wave. It's not easy to play in those circumstances. And so I'm happy that those guys played well and Jeremy played well. Now, before I go further, of course, you're seeing that the picture of Jeremy is different. And I want to thank Charles from Singapore for that artwork. I said it in the Jeremy Lin Extra number 2. If people had pictures, they could send them to us and we'll use them. Well, Charles did a picture. He actually did several pictures very quick. As you can see from this picture, he's a phenomenal artist. And he sent me another picture that he did in like 10 minutes that was just as good. This is what real artistic ability looks like. And we appreciate you, Charles. Thanks a lot for sending that. Now, I will have in the video description below the video player information so you can go to Charles's YouTube channel and subscribe and talk to him. His YouTube channel is called makanamachine. That's all one word. I don't know what makanamachine is, but that's the name of his channel. And look, again, I mean, obviously this guy's got tremendous amount of artistic ability, so you guys can talk with him about that. And if other people are looking for artists that you know, talk to him. I mean, obviously this guy's got a tremendous amount of ability, and we appreciate that he helped us out with this. You know, I know guys are tired of seeing the Jeremy Lin schoolboy polo shirt, you know, Izod button-up thing, so now we got something different. Thanks a lot, Charles. Again, you're a great artist, and we really appreciate your work. And, you know, like I said, go subscribe to his channel. Charles, if I was you, man, honestly, I'd make pictures and do videos of them because your pictures are so good. People will watch the videos just to see you do them or see your artwork. I mean, that's just my own suggestion, but I think that'd be a great idea. We did start Greg Smith and Omer in this game again, so the big front line played again. Denver was very fired up for this game, and they came out hot, but then they cooled down, and we got the advantage. And, you know, we ended up the first quarter up by 10, and then everything went downhill. We're now 0-4 against Denver this season. And as somebody mentioned in the Game 76 comments talking about this game, we don't want the 6th seed if we're going to play Denver in the first round because I don't know that we can beat them. We haven't beaten them at all this year in 4 tries. And, you know, if I ever underestimate the Denver Nuggets again, somebody wake me up. You know, I thought we had a chance in this game because they were missing Gallinari, the starting small forward, and they were missing the starting point guard and Ty Lawson. And you know what? It's like it doesn't matter. They just put in another guy and whatever. And that shows you how good they are of a team, and it also shows you how good of a coach George Karl is. I think George Karl is the second best coach in the NBA behind Greg Popovich. I mean, I remember George Karl coaching the Golden State Warriors like when I was like a teenager, and I'm 41 now. He's an excellent coach, and you saw it tonight. They didn't panic when they were down. They just kind of worked their way in, and turns out they pounded us. So give George Karl a lot of credit. Whoever plays them is going to have a seriously difficult time against them. And if they were fully healthy, they might really score some upsets. So, they could get to the Western Conference Finals or beyond. That's probably not going to happen now. And I know that some people are down on them. They don't have a star or all this stuff now. They're great. And when they get rolling, they're, as I've said earlier in the year, they're a better version of us. They run, super amount of depth, and they're relentless. And that's what you saw tonight. We were on a back-to-back game. That didn't help us any. And you saw the results of that later in the game. Okay, let's get to Jeremy. Jeremy, as I mentioned, had a terrific game. 23 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point range, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, no steals, no block shots, only 1 turnover. So that's an 8-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Somebody on Real GM earlier was, his assist-to-turnover ratio is bad. Yeah, how do you like 8-to-1? Is that good enough? Yeah, I think it is. 3 personal fouls. His plus-minus was minus 23. I'll say something about that in a second. And his efficiency number was 24, which is great. Very, very good. That's like MVP level of the league in the 35 minutes or close to it. He was the high scorer in the game, and he just played extremely well, better than I thought he was going to play in this circumstance. Andre Miller, who started as point guard in place of Ty Lawson for the Denver Nuggets, had 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 12 assists. His efficiency number was 17. So he did a good job against Jeremy. I mean, Andre Miller is like 36 years old. He's been around forever. He has what is known as, there's a slang word called old man game. Old, like you're old, you're ancient, you're an old man. The reason why he has old man game, what that means is the way that he plays is the way an old guy plays. Like if you're playing at the YMCA or down at the local gym, sometimes you'll play against guys that are old. They can't move, they're not quick, they can't jump, but they can play. And that's what Andre Miller is like. And that's what old man game means. It means somebody that's good but plays like an old guy that can't. They're not a good athlete, but they really can play, and they know how to trick you, and they just know how to get the better of the young guys, even though they're old. And that's the way Andre Miller plays, and he's still doing it. He's been around forever. Okay, let's talk more about Jeremy and some of the high points of why this game was so good. I thought that Jeremy was the only person on the Rockets besides Francisco Garcia that really came to play tonight and really, really dug in to win this game. James Harden was good early, and then he faded away, and his defense was bad the whole game. He was getting torched in this game, even when he was doing well on offense early. Denver took control of this game from the beginning, and then James Harden helped lead Houston back by going strong on offense. But then he faded completely, and even when he was going strong on offense, his men were scoring way too easily. As we said, James Harden was benched in this game with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. And it came right after a terrible play by him. He did an ISO brick three-pointer, I think. That was it was way off. And it led to a Denver fast break dunk by Kenneth Faried. I've said this to people before, and I argue with people about this on Clutch Fans and other places. Oh, Jeremy has still 5 turnovers. Some missed shots are worse than turnovers. And that's what James Harden three-point brick was. Because what it does, if you miss a three-pointer badly, because you're far way away, there's a lot of force on the ball so that you can try to get it to the rim. You have to shoot harder or, with more power. So if you shoot a three-pointer miss, sometimes the rebounds come out really far. And that's what happened on Harden's play. And that can lead to fast breaks. And that's what happened on the play. And that can be worse than a turnover. Like if you're driving down the middle of the lane and you turn the ball over there, like Jeremy did against the Clippers, that's not as bad as a long rebound that leads out to a dunk. And people don't understand that. So if James Harden misses 15 shots in a game, 5 of those might be run-out dunks for the other team. And that people don't understand that. Oh, well, what's that 5 turnovers? No, it's basically 5 turnovers, really bad turnovers. And finally, Kevin McHale, for the first time that I can remember in this year, benched James Harden because he wasn't playing well. We've seen it. We've seen it with Jeremy again and again and again this year. And everybody has been shouting from the rooftops, when is he going to bench Harden? And he finally did it. Like I said, I don't care if we got beaten by 100 in this game. We have broken the ice on James Harden being held accountable. And let me tell you something. It wouldn't have happened, in my opinion, if Jeremy and the team didn't win the 2 games with James Harden not playing. And that's why it's so important that Jeremy and the team did well without James Harden, because it puts away the myth that you need James Harden to win, because we don't. Now, I love James Harden. It's not about that. It's about fairness and seeing reality. And because Kevin McHale knew what the offense looked like without James Harden, he had the confidence to bench him tonight. Thank goodness. It's just like Jeremy getting his chance in New York. Unfortunately, he never would have gotten his chance if a whole bunch of guys on the team weren't hurt. Baron Davis, Amare, Carmelo. But because they did, the coach, D'Antoni, got to see what Jeremy could do. That's what happened with Kevin McHale and James Harden missing those 2 games, and that's why James Harden came back pretty quick, right? Everybody knows it, and nobody's going to talk about this, or you're not going to hear it very many places, but I'm going to tell you. We have broken through to a new era now. An era where James Harden can get benched too. And when James Harden got benched, guess who didn't get benched? Guess who played the entire second quarter and the entire third quarter? That's right, Jeremy Lin. Jeremy also showed that his struggles with the back-to-backs may be done. As I mentioned early, he had energy, he had speed, he had everything. As I said in the Portland Game 76 yesterday, he had all of his speed tonight, and that means it's about the knee. That means the knee getting back to 100% strength was what the issue was. Now, does the knee have 100% power? I don't know, because like I said, I don't know if he's jumping at the same level he did in Linsanity 1.0, but he will. He will, if he isn't yet. Strength isn't the same as power. Power is strength plus acceleration, basically. It's mass times acceleration or whatever. I know that's the formula for force, but it's very similar to that in a sports science type of way. So I might have strength, like I might do a lift. I extend my leg, and that's strength. But extending my leg while doing a sporting activity with force, that's power. It's different. And Jeremy might not have that jumping power yet, although it's coming. The speed looks back. He had the speed tonight on a back-to-back. What that tells me is that the problems he was having with back-to-backs early in the year were because of his knee. And now, with the knee getting better, guess what? The problems with back-to-backs might be going bye-bye. Right, haters? I know you're scared of that. Be afraid, because he played phenomenal in this game. Phenomenal. And I think it is because of the knee. And now he's starting to get momentum and confidence. And I think you're going to start seeing more of this. Again, this is 4 straight games of Linsanity. I looked over the stats, and in the last 11 or 12 games, Jeremy's had like 7 Linsanities. So he had like 3 or 4 in a row, then he had a break, and now he's had 4 in a row again. The frequency is getting more. I think, like as I said in the Portland game, I think we're turning the corner here now. I think we're starting to get into serious stuff. Please just let him stay healthy. Again, no, I don't want to jinx. And when I say knock on wood, that's an English idiom expression meaning, good luck. I don't want to cause bad luck, so I'm going to knock on wood. It's like a superstitious thing, and so that's what that expression means. Jeremy fell down pretty hard in this game, but he was okay. I think someone mentioned he wears like little hip pads or thigh pads. I think that's true, and a lot of guys wear that, particularly guys that in basketball that drive to the basket a lot. I mean, Rondo wears a whole bunch of padding and stuff, and if you're a small guy, you should do that. And Jeremy does that. But I just, as I said, we're on the verge of a new era here. James Harden can get benched. Jeremy's knees getting back. Jeremy's good in back-to-backs. And what this is all leading to, Jeremy is going to be the leader of this team. I know James Harden doesn't want to hear that. And I know that the haters don't want to hear it. And I know Kevin McHale probably doesn't want to hear it right now. It's going to happen. I don't know how quickly it's going to happen. And given if everybody's healthy and, if everybody stays healthy, Jeremy's going to lead this team and be the leader of this team within, I would say, 1 to 2 years. James Harden's still going to be the best player, but Jeremy's going to be the leader. And that's huge. Huge. In the second half of this game, Denver was double-teaming Jeremy. Why? Because he was the only guy on Houston's team that they were afraid of. Now, I think Harden was out of the game at that point, but that's the only person they were scared of. Why? Because he was lighting them up. I'm going to be really interested to hear, and you should look for this too, what Denver says after this game, the players. I want to hear what they say about Jeremy, because I think you're going to hear some respect for Jeremy after this game, because it was all him tonight, particularly after the first quarter. As I said, we've talked about this before. Jeremy there are still things between him and being the leader of the team. He needs better skills. He needs a better three-point shot. He needs to be a better standstill shooter. He needs to handle the ball a little bit better. He needs to work without the ball a little bit better. He needs to be better in big games. When good teams are really working hard to shut him down. He's on the scouting report against a Miami team, and they're coming full force at him. He needs to be better in that. He's getting there. Tonight was a big game, and he did great. He needs to be able to work off of double teams more. Harden is ahead of him in those areas, right? Harden has more skill than Jeremy does right now. But I think Jeremy can get to the point, I am 100% certain, where he might not be better than James Harden, like in a one-on-one situation or statistically, but he will be good enough that he will lead the team. It's almost like Stockton and Malone. Look, was Karl Malone a better player than Stockton? Yeah, probably. Although, obviously Stockton was incredible. Stockton led the team. Stockton had the ball. Stockton ran the offense. That's what's going to happen with Jeremy and James Harden. It's going to become Jeremy's team. And a lot less sharing the point guard and all that stuff. Another great thing that happened in this game, and not that this has never happened, but in the third quarter, whatever, Harden ran right to the top of the arc and wanted the ball, and Jeremy didn't give it to him. Jeremy was on the right hand side of him, and Harden ran up and he wanted it, and Jeremy wouldn't give it to him. I love that. Not just because we've seen that happen to Jeremy, but because Jeremy knows the ball is in better shape in his hands than James Harden's hands. And that's, not only is it confidence, it's leadership. Believe me, the other guys on the team, they know Harden's the best player, but they know Jeremy is the best point guard. So the other guys on the team are going to respect that. Even if they don't say it, they can't say it, right? You don't want fighting on your team. These are things that work themselves out. It's almost like lions out in the wild in a pride, Eventually you're going to figure out who's the leader of the pride, one way or the other. That's what this type of stuff is. You remember the other day, and we talked about this in one of the videos, James Harden came out and said that he didn't need to change the way he plays. And there was a whole discussion. Was this a good thing? Was this a bad thing? What did he mean? And I said I thought it was a bad thing, because what James Harden was saying was, it doesn't matter if the team played well without me. I'm the leader of the team, and I don't need to change the way that I play. But I'm not sure if the team feels that way. And again, because the team got to see what it can be like without James Harden running everything and running the offense and doing ISO turnover brick ball, that's given them the ability to bench James Harden when he's not playing well, to let Jeremy Lin lead the team as he did against the Clippers and as he did against the Orlando Magic. And, in a lot of ways in this situation, and I hate to say this because I like James Harden. I do. I like him a lot, and he's a heck of a player. But you're starting to see in some ways that James Harden is could become the Carmelo Anthony of this situation. He's a much more unselfish player, in my opinion, than Carmelo Anthony is. But as I mentioned earlier, you're seeing a circumstance where McHale is like D'Antoni. Harden is like Carmelo. And who's going to get control of the team and all this stuff. Now, it's a different circumstance. And Les Alexander certainly isn't Jim Dolan. And Jeremy Lin isn't going anywhere. I can tell you that with more certainty than ever now. He isn't going anywhere. Unless he wanted to go somewhere. And why would you want to go anywhere? This is a talented young team that you can have as your own, essentially. But I was reading the comments. XOXO was writing something while I was talking to John. I had to talk to John real quickly, so I paused this video. And XOXO said, no, Harden wasn't benched. It was McHale giving up. Nope, Harden was benched. McHale didn't give up in this game until he took Jeremy out early in the fourth quarter. That's when McHale gave up. So, believe me, James Harden got benched, and he got benched because he didn't play well. What was he, like 2 of 10 from the field? It's starting to happen. It's starting to happen, just like it happened in New York. Jeremy started to get more and more confidence, and D'Antoni had more and more confidence, and you started to see that little groundswell. Well, what's going to happen when Carmelo came back? Is it whose team is it? Is Carmelo going to change? And then Carmelo, it doesn't have to change. And you started hearing all the leaks and Stephen A. Smith and all this BS. Hopefully this will all go smoothly. I think it will. But I'm telling you, in a year or two, it's going to be Jeremy's team. And it's not that it all happened in tonight's game. It didn't. That's why it's important it's like, we're like reading a book together, right? And in some ways I'm narrating the book, but we're all reading the same book. And the people that have been following the whole book know the story. So tonight wasn't the entire book, but tonight was an important plot twist in the book. Tonight, James Harden got benched. Tonight, Jeremy Lin played great on a back-to-back. Tonight, Jeremy Lin looked off James Harden when James Harden wanted the ball. It's starting to change. And again, I don't care. Like, I'm not sitting here rooting for Jeremy to defeat the evil Harden and take the team from him. No, it's not about that. It's about what's best for the team. And we all know Jeremy Lin's a better point guard than James Harden is. And that means Jeremy Lin should be running the team. And I think Kevin McHale is starting to understand that too. And that James Harden's not an untouchable person. You need to have him have accountability too, or else you, Kevin McHale, are going to lose credibility with the team. That's the great thing that happened in this game, along with Jeremy playing well on a back-to-back. And Jeremy, and I have to mention something that Clutch said the other day. I thought it was I know a lot of people aren't high on Clutch, and I understand that. I do. I understand that. I like Clutch. I've known Clutch for a long time. I don't know him personally, but I've known him over the internet for like 20 years. So I like him. I understand what people are saying about him. I do. I think he loses patience with over-eager Lin fans pretty quickly. And sometimes not great things happen after that, in my opinion. But again, I do like Clutch and I support him. There's something Clutch said the other day, and actually it was he and I were going back and forth. I'm Phi Slamma over there. He mentioned something. He said he was a little bit surprised when Jeremy said the thing about a point guard and the point guard, right, after the Orlando game. And he said that in the press room, while the media are. And then somebody else in the press room told him, 60 Minutes is here. They're filming. And Jeremy knew that. So, remember, Jeremy's a very smart person. Very smart. Not just because of Harvard, but he's a smart guy. In other words, what Clutch was saying was that Jeremy might have wanted to get that message out. And now that 60 Minutes is there, he has a chance to get it out beyond the Houston media. He's going to take this national. I mean, again, if you're outside of the United States, 60 Minutes is a huge program in the United States. So if Jeremy wanted to get the message out, like, I should be the point guard, well, not a bad time to do it when 60 Minutes is around filming it. Now, some people would look at that and say, wow, Jeremy's like, he's being subversive to James Harden's leadership or the team. No. Again, and it comes back to what I said earlier, the team. Jeremy's responsibility is to do what's best for the team, and the team runs better with Jeremy running the point. Jeremy knows that, even if Kevin McHale didn't know it and James Harden didn't know it. Although I think I said You see games like this, and I think Kevin McHale's starting to learn it. And look, it's tough for Kevin McHale, right? Apparently, Kevin McHale was the guy that recommended that Jeremy Lin be cut from Houston. So, it's hard to own up to your mistakes. Kevin McHale's basically, if he comes around and Jeremy Lin's a great player, guess what? Kevin McHale, the talent evaluator, looks pretty dumb. These guys have big egos. They don't want to admit that. And that's why I give Kevin McHale credit for what he did tonight. He rewarded Jeremy by playing him the whole second and the whole third quarters. And he punished Harden. That wouldn't have happened, in my opinion, before James Harden missed the 2 games and the team won both games. But now things are changing. Haters, I'm telling you right now. Oh, and let me say this. I mentioned about Jeremy's plus-minus being minus 23, which is like the worst on the team. What the haters are going to say tonight is, well, Jeremy sucked. Look at his plus-minus. No. Jeremy was on the team, and he was like the only guy trying. And then for a while, he was on with the backups, and they were getting crushed on defense. It wasn't Jeremy's fault. It was guys guarding Andre Iguodala, guys guarding Wilson Chandler, etc. And that's why it's important. Statistics are important, but it's not as important as watching the game. And you need to know all the statistics. But I'm telling you, the haters are getting very scared now. Jeremy's had 4 great games in a row. And if the haters are smart enough to realize that James Harden was benched and Jeremy wasn't, they're really going to get scared. So then they're going to try to say even more, or the plus minus this, that, the other, because Jeremy's winning, not against James Harden, but against the haters. Jeremy's getting closer and closer to reaching the finish line, and they don't want that. So the arguments are going to get even crazier and crazier, and they're going to be desperate, and that's why they're going to go to stuff like the plus minus. I guarantee you that's going to be used after tonight's game. I know how these things work, so look for that. When you're on Clutch Fans and these other places, I know it. I know how this works. What was I going to say? The haters are really getting scared now. 4 straight games of Linsanity. Good teams. Denver's a darn good team. Orlando's not a great team, but whatever. The Clippers are. Portland's pretty good, especially Damian Lillard, who's like the golden boy of a lot of people. And I love Damian Lillard. I'm not putting him down, but Jeremy torched him. And I saw people in Clutch Fans, and these are supposed to be Rockets fans, right? And they're like, oh, I don't like Lin fans saying that, it was a bad game for Lillard, and now the Lin fans are, Lin fans are puffing their chest. Aren't you a Rockets fan? If you're a Rockets fan, you should be happy about Jeremy Lin doing well, but you're not. Why is that? Why is that, hater? Yeah, that's right. You like criticizing the Lin fans when they say Lin got benched and he shouldn't have been, and you say, well, just think about the team and support the team, but you're not supporting the team. When you say that, when you're unhappy that Lin fans are happy because he torched Lillard, you're supporting Lillard. Why is that? Why is that exactly? Give me an answer. I'm waiting. So, haters are scared now. Real scared. They're panicking. And tonight's a new level of panic because James Harden got benched and Jeremy Lin didn't. So, again, new territory, new ground is being broken here. And that's going to eventually lead to this team becoming Jeremy Lin's team. Now, look, somebody else could come in the summer. Daryl Morey could get Dwight Howard or something, and, well, maybe it becomes Dwight Howard's team. Okay. But right now, Jeremy's still the point guard. One of the reasons why the Lakers are still Kobe's team is because Kobe has the ball in his hand. So Kobe gets to decide whose team it is and who's going to get the ball and who isn't. Well, Jeremy's the point guard. The ball's in his hand, he's going to decide whose team it is. That's the way it works, and the haters are scared to death of that. As soon as James Harden went out of this game in the third quarter, the offense was better immediately. And again, I like James Harden. But I think James Harden and a lot of James Harden fans and a lot of Lin haters were thinking, good, Harden's there, and that means Lin's not going to run the show and get all the props. Well, better hold off on proclaiming that too quick. Better hold off on proclaiming that too quick. That's what I heard from James Harden when James Harden says, I'm the leader of the team, and I don't need to change the way I play. James Harden's not a Jeremy Lin hater, but he is a James Harden fan. And a lot of guys want to be the guy, and they want everybody else to be second fiddle. Well, does James Harden feel that way? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because James Harden had to play second fiddle to Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City. So he might think, well, this is his time and this is his team. Well, it might not be your team in 2 years. And for the betterment of the team, again, I'm only saying all this, and I'm only promoting Jeremy, even though I'm a Jeremy Lin fan. I'm only doing that because I think it's what's best for the team. If I thought that James Harden running the point was better for the team, then that's what I'd say. But it isn't better. It's not better. And so the sooner that it becomes Jeremy's team, the better for the team. All right, I'm going to skip the quarter by quarter. There's a whole bunch of great plays in this game from Jeremy, but this video is already pretty long, and I just want to get it up just so we can interact and talk. I know you guys are going to have a lot to say, and Harden being benched and my thoughts on this. So I'm just looking through my notes really quickly just to see if there's anything I need to mention from the quarter by quarter. I talked about Lin's speed, and, the thing I really liked about Houston tonight, and this was because of Jeremy, they didn't give up. At Denver, like I said, man, Denver can run you into the ground. And they're dunking and alley-ooping, and it's easy to get demoralized, but they didn't. Jeremy wouldn't let them give up. Now, people are going to say, Jeremy was hitting fluke three-pointers, and he hit them. He hit them. He was keeping Houston in this game. The reason why McHale kept Jeremy in the fourth quarter, and I'm glad he did. At that point, at the end of the third quarter, the game was a 19-point game. And what McHale wanted to see was if Jeremy could spark a run and cut the lead down to 15, 12 points early in the fourth. And once that didn't happen, then he took Jeremy out. That's when I said, that's why I said that's when he called off the game. He didn't quit the game when he took James Harden out. He took James Harden out because James Harden was ruining the Rockets' chances at that point in time, in my opinion. So, look, I have it written in the quarter by quarter notes. Where you at, haters? Where you at, Isaiah Thomas? Jeremy Lin's not that athletic. You're not really high on him. Where you at, Larry Brown? You're not really high on Jeremy Lin. Where you at, James Dolan? You're happy with Raymond Felton, right? Yeah, you guys are in a nice little streak. That's great. I think everybody knows who the better point guard is between Jeremy Lin and Raymond Felton. And I have nothing against Raymond Felton. Raymond Felton's been pretty cool to Jeremy Lin. He has been, even with some of the statements that he's made. I have nothing against Raymond Felton. But Jeremy Lin is a star in waiting. He's not there yet. And he still needs to get there. As we talked about in the last video, he needs to stay humble. Jeremy is rich now, and he's going to become a lot richer very, very quickly. If you ever watch the old Rocky movies, made in the USA, Sylvester Stallone, you got to keep the hunger, got to keep the fight. And once you have everything, it's easy to lose the fire. Do I think that's going to happen to Jeremy? No, not at all. But he needs to keep that, and he needs to have good fortune with his health. He needs to have good fortune with his health. I think it's going to happen. I've said it before. I think a lot of the issues that Jeremy had with his knee was because Mike D'Antoni played him so much, and Jeremy wasn't ready for that. last year. And nothing against Mike D'Antoni. That's the way he coaches. And everybody knows that. He uses players heavy minutes. That's just what happened. Certainly Jeremy's not getting too many minutes this year. We know that. And again, I'll give credit to McHale because the coaching staff knows not to overplay Jeremy because he does play so fast and so hard. And so I actually give him credit on that. He doesn't need to play too many minutes. You don't need him to get hurt again. So Jeremy's in a good spot. And he will keep the desire. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Jeremy's got extra motivation beyond just being rich or whatever. He's already rich, and it's going to get a lot easier. He wants to prove everybody wrong. He wants to pave the way for other people he wants other people of probably, similar backgrounds to him to be able to play ball without people, and be offered scholarships when you're the player of the year in California. So Jeremy's got a chip on his shoulder, and that's good. That's what makes people great, because they stay motivated when other people aren't motivated. So I have no question in my mind Jeremy's going to put the work in, no matter how wealthy he is. Some guys have that. Some guys are driven to be great. And same with some women are driven to be great, regardless of their circumstances. They could be rich as anything. Jeremy has that. And that's why he's going to keep getting better. And as I said, I've always had confidence in him. Always. Since I first saw Linsanity. And I know what he can become in the next 2 years. If he gets there, like I said, this is going to be his team. He's going to be a star. A real, true star based upon what he can do on the court. We know what he has to improve. More consistency, three-point shots, standstill shooting, decision-making, keep improving that, et cetera, et cetera. But I love it, man. Like I said, this is one of the happiest times I've had in the loss because I can see the future. The future is Jeremy Lin, superstar, running the Houston Rockets on a contender. This team, before they kind of wilted second and third quarters, they looked awesome. I couldn't believe how good the team looked. I was like, man, this team is going to be, dangerous in the playoffs. They just need a little bit more time. And Jeremy was leading them. Jeremy was like, the general out in front of the troops leading them. When the team wanted to quit, Jeremy wouldn't let them. That's what it's all about. That's what Jeremy's all about. It's just great. So that's it for now. Let me just say here again, the summary is a tough but expected loss. Jeremy showed greatness tonight. He showed leadership. He showed no quit. That's a really good quality in an athlete. And again, you saw the future tonight. You saw the future tonight. And the way Jeremy played and what happened. And Kevin McHale staying with Jeremy and benching James Harden. Again, James Harden's a great player. But the team's going to be better when Jeremy Lin's running it. And maybe, just maybe, Kevin McHale's starting to realize that. Okay, a couple of quick comments and stuff. As I mentioned, the Jeremy Lin interview will run on 60 Minutes tomorrow night in the USA. There will probably be a video out sometime shortly after it comes out. So if you're not in the USA and you don't have access to that, you'll be able to see it. I might do a response video to it. I'm not sure. Probably not, but I might. We'll see. We'll see. I want to give thanks to JeremyLin.net. I've never mentioned them before, but they put up our videos a lot, and we appreciate that. And I know a lot of other people like their work in the comments. So, guys, you might not hear this, but maybe somebody can tell you, we appreciate that. People have been putting these videos up on like ESPN and Bleacher Report and stuff. I don't know who's doing it, but, great. We appreciate it. Thanks. Joyce Ward wanted to say thanks because you gave the information about what happened between Greg Smith and James Harden in the Portland game. I said that Jeremy had to kind of break up a little discussion between Greg Smith and James Harden. Apparently, it was James Harden missed a defensive assignment, and Greg Smith was mad about it. And Jeremy kind of came in and played peacemaker, and ESPN showed that. Thanks, Joyce, for giving that information. As I mentioned earlier, I am Phi Slamma on Clutch Fans. So I don't post there that much, just I don't time, whatever. But I do post every now and then. And I've been a member there since 1999. So I post more on Real GM. And over on Real GM, I'm Hot Rocks 34. I have a little avatar with Akeem Olajuwon, like, a little cartoon of Akeem with like number 34 and little goggles on. So again, I'm going to keep the comments short and responding. I want to hit this up. I'm probably already 40 or more minutes already. Next game comes on Tuesday, April 9th here in the United States at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we got 2 days off between tonight's game and the next game, and that's good. It's been a 3-game road trip. Get back to Houston, rest up, practice up, etc. That game will take place early Wednesday, April 10th in Asia, including at 8 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. It is 1:21 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States on early April 7th, Sunday, which means it is 1:21 p.m. Sunday afternoon in Taipei, Taiwan on Sunday, April 7th. Okay, your comments below. Interested to hear what you guys think about what I said, what I saw. Again, I'm not going to do the quarter by quarter. We'll just make the video too long right now. Thumbs up, thumbs down on this. We'll have all the information in the video description below the video player for game highlights, game stories, box score, and how you can come and join the CNM Facebook group, which has over 2,000 members and growing. I am Paul at Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. 4th straight game of Linsanity 2.0. And tough loss, but good things happened in this game that are going to help the team in the future and are going to help Jeremy. So all in all, I'll take it. And we move on to the Phoenix game on Tuesday. So hope everybody's having a great day or great night wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.